to Keep It 100 Oklahoma High School Sports on this Thursday. Hot-ass Thursday afternoon. Folks, this is the real week. Last week was week 0, but this is the week where it all starts. As you can see, we got a couple of helmets on the table. Thanks to nice people giving to us. Coach Jones. A little love from Choctaw. As you can see, it's the road to the gold ball. Over my man Big E. What's going on, Big E?
Not much, man. Just another day.
Another hot day. Not a day. It's hot.
Yes, it is. Yep, got a fantasy draft tonight, so.
Well, hey, I did that last week, man, and it's so cool how fantasy is now. I remember back in the day, you go buy a book and you'll circle everything. You want this player. Last week we did it over my friend John Hancock. I didn't even have to go to his house, man. We did it from online down on the computer. You just put the player, boom, pops up, everybody can see it. That's not bad. I've been in this league probably about 15 years. Me and my friend Marcus Wade, co-worker of mine, we won it 2 years ago. So it's a pretty cool gig. It makes you cheer for everybody. I'm always going to be a Cowboys fan, but it does make you, cheer for a little bit of everybody. But we got some big games, and we can talk about some games coming up. But we should have a special guest tonight, Aaron McConnell, the face of Choctaw, the Touchdown Club president. It's probably Corbin's right-hand man. He's one that runs the Little League out there, and we're going to talk to him tonight about, hey, what's it like being a Yellow Jacket, and what's he doing with the Little League program, and what's going on at Choctaw. Like you see, we got the gold ball out here, and it's a road to the gold ball. So we got some big games, and we'll talk about some of the games from last week. After what?
After one of our sponsors.
Keep it at 100. Oklahoma High School Sports.
With 25 years experience in the industry, Line-X Customs OKC is your one-stop shop for all your vehicle accessory needs. Specializing in spray-in liners, lifts, levels, wheels, tires, bed covers, and anything else you need to make your ride look and sound better. Call Eric and the boys at 405-778-8878.
Welcome back to Keep It at 100 Oklahoma High School Sports. And, we had some pretty exciting games last week.
Yes, sir.
Week 0. So we're going to go ahead and just start talking about some of those. So starting off in 6A1, we had Booker T, Washington versus Southmore at Southmore.
Woo!
And we talked to Coach Norman before the game. They seemed pretty hyped up, but
he came up a little bit short, Coach Norman.
Yeah.
Hey, we still love you. Me and Big E kind of talked after your game, man, and I think it was Friday night. We kind of talked a little bit, and then it might have been Friday morning, but we kind of talked a little bit. And I love the coach's enthusiasm going into this season, man. One game doesn't break the season. You got to figure some things out, man. I kind of watched the first drive of that game, man, and it seemed like Southmore went down and drove down on Booker T. But I just tell you right now, man, Booker T might be one of the best teams in 6A, small and big, because they got a lot of team speed. And tomorrow night I get to go over and watch Booker T and Dell City kick it off. You see, Coach Jones gave me a Dell City helmet. Believe me, I know all my Bombers fans are probably screaming and cussing. Why the hell I got that Eagle helmet in the house? But hey, this is Keeping 100 Oklahoma High School Sports. We give everybody some love. But I tell you, Booker T's a real deal. Sophomore, it's going to be tough, but I still going to keep my prediction. I still think they're going to get into the playoffs.
all right. I'd have to disagree. I think there's a lot more better teams in 6A1. Sorry, Coach Norman, but it's called Keep It 100, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
That's what I'm talking about, Big D. There we go.
But moving on, we had Deer Creek versus Edmond North. Deer Creek came on top, pretty dominating fashion, 35-7. That kind of. Deer Creek's always been one of those teams that they're kind of in or out. They can shock you every once in a while, and it seems like that was the case this past week at Edmond North. Edmond North, historically, at least within the past few years, they haven't been too great. But they are a bigger school. They are 6A1. They got more kids on that team, so you would think that they'd come up on top. But ultimately, Deer Creek came away with the win. And then another thing, as far as 6A1 goes, we had a clean, or almost a clean sweep between all of the Texas teams. So we had Union beating Mansfield Lake Ridge 48-20.
Yes, sir.
Broken Arrow beating Mansfield Legacy 42-13. And then we got Gene squeaking it out against Mansfield Summit 20-14. Mm-hmm. So all those Mansfield teams, they went down this week to Oklahoma teams, and we were just talking about that last week, how big that is, that, Texas is the highest stage of high school football. Arguably, you can argue about California or Florida, but Oklahoma came out with the W this past week. So
I'll tell you this though, man. Oklahoma did good. I know Middle City got beat up a little bit, and then Westbrook got beat up a little bit. I think they both took losses, and then we were going down there playing in Texas, man. And Coach Thomas sent me a picture of that Texas Stadium, and I tell you, it was amazing, man. It was just amazing just to see what it looked like a Division I program, man. You know, that's a high school football field. It looked like a college. If you gonna play Division II or NAI after playing at that high school, you're not gonna want to go to the next level. You're not gonna want to go play for nobody who don't have a facility like what you got in high school. So I just tell you though, man, it's good that these teams are going out of state playing. But I tell you though, man, I think if you're gonna go out of state, you better be prepared, ready to go, man. You can't go down there and get beat up. I think Middle City got beat with 37-0, and Zoe got beat 44-26. I mean, and I know it's the first game, and you got some wrinkles, but you got to put some points on the board though. Right. If you're gonna have a chance to even get ready for the next level. Folks, we're going to come back after one of our sponsors, man. I got a special guest coming on, and I got to take this real quick. So we'll be right back after what?
After one of these sponsors.
Right back. What's wrong, Zoe?
Hey, don't worry, Tony. We got our guys at Proactive Protect to keep us safe. They can come out to your house, school, or even your business. You can give them a call at 844-X-Virus-X, which is 844-984-7879, or you can visit them at proactiveprotect.com.
You're always protected by Proactive Protect.
Welcome back to Keeping It 100 Oklahoma High School Sports. Last 6A1 game I want to talk about. Last week I kind of predicted this game to be a little bit closer than what it was, and I think I underrated Owasso a little bit. Hey. They went up and played Edmond Santa Fe, and they won that game 45-22. I thought it was going to be a little bit closer within about that 7 to 3 point range, but they came out and dominated.
That's the game, we got a chance to go to and watch, man. I'll tell you this, though, man. Watching Owasso, man, watching Santa Fe, and Santa Fe got two guys in Division I, the number 2 kid who's kind of a freak, but I'll tell you, Owasso got the best receiver in the state. I'll tell you, man, they did what they wanted to do against Santa Fe secondary, man. Santa Fe secondary looked like they were playing tag, man. They couldn't touch somebody. Owasso's receivers are running wide open. And Bigsby coach had told me that Adams kid was the best receiver in the state, and watching him live last week, he was the best receiver in the state. And I'll just tell you right now, Owasso's running back was a good-sized kid. Quarterback did a very good job, man. They got open. Their offense was just fully loaded. Santa Fe kind of struggled a little bit, man, trying to move the ball. The back wasn't very big. I know their state championship, they got there last year. And they lost some games last year before they even got going. So don't count Santa Fe out. But I'm telling you right now, Owasso, the team that's competing the Big 6A, so should be really, really excited, see how far both of those teams go this year, because I tell you that Big 6A, I think Jinx is still loaded. Like I said, they open up tomorrow night against Bigsby. That should be a burner. I'll tell you, that'll be a hell of a game to go to and watch. But like I said, there's a lot of great games this week, man. So we'll talk about pretty much all of them. What we got next week?
Yeah, in 6A2, you had Bixby taking on another Mansfield team, Mansfield Timberview. They came out there and dominated, winning 69-14. And then Choctaw versus Beacon Hill. And I heard that this was the first time that a Virginia team has ever come to Oklahoma to play. And they got a bad taste of Oklahoma football last week. Choctaw beating them 66-0. I was watching the live stream of that game, and I didn't really know if it was true or not, but I was hearing stuff like, they only got like 15, 16 kids. Sure enough, there's only like 3 or 4 kids on that sideline. The rest of them were out on the field. So, anytime that happens, I get it. Like, they're a homeschool team, but you only got like 15, 16 kids. Kids, they're going to get gassed, and, that's a lot.
I tell you, that game was 52-0, I think, at halftime, and Choctaw only beat them 66, so they kind of took the brakes off on them a little bit. Yeah. I tell you, though, watching that game, you get to see some of those young kids get in, and that's what it's all about, getting those young kids. The game time, the varsity time. Yeah. I know it's funny. I watched Cade's video. He kind of passed, man, and he put athlete.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I thought it was one of the funniest shit I've seen, because he's letting everybody know.
He was close to scoring a touchdown.
Oh yeah.
I wish he would have got it.
The funniest shit, if they would have put him in Wildcat, I would have been really pumped. They could have called the Hog Dogs or whatever, TC Frog, whatever they wanted to do. Yeah. But it's good to see some of those guys, though, man. We get to see the young quarterback, Williams get in there, see some of the younger guys get in there and do their thing, though. I'll tell you, these next couple of weeks, the Yellow Jackets going to have the work cut out. They got a team that beat them last year. We'll talk about that. Well, I guess we are, small 6A, but I tell you, they got the work cut out this week with the team coming in from Arkansas. Yep. And next week they travel to Dallas. So And then I think you got Booker T right around the corner, and you got Bigsby. And, I mean, you got some tough games.
They got a pretty
here.
tough schedule to begin the season.
The biggest thing is right now is keeping everybody healthy, because everybody knows it's staying healthy. Man. It takes one little twist ankle. I mean, when your starters are down, I mean, everybody knows depth. And the good thing about playing that game, I know it was like a JV scrimmage. You'd probably been better off playing Maloney or Star Spencer. You know, they would have to travel. But it's good that you can say, hey, I beat up on the Virginia team. I know when we went down to Russell with, Virginia Beach, my son went down to Russell. He whipped the hell out of some of those kids down there. It's all bragging rights. So it's a good experience, for both teams. Those kids getting to come to Oklahoma, they're homeschooled, but they had some athletes, so you did see that.
A lot of big guys, a lot of big, strong, fast guys. I think the biggest thing weighing them down is just they don't have many kids. They don't have the numbers.
I tell you, it's tough when you got 17, 18. How many kids they have? 20 kids. You give them 20, 21 kids. But it's tough when you got that depth, man. I watched that in my little league team last week, though. We jumped out. As you guys know, I'm coaching them John Longhorn 6th grade team is on the record with, man. We got some a lot of talent. I'm going to jump on the subject, but I tell you, the funny thing is, I coached Stephen Templeton his first year little league football. He played with me with Little Bombers. I'm coaching his two little cousins. Their last year of little league football. Cade, and one's QB, one's tailback. And I tell you, man, those kids can go. We come out the first play of the game, and they let me do the offense. Me and my old days when I go to Bombers team, man, we want to run it up on you. Either get your ass in shape or get ready to go, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to run you off the field. First play we come out, we do fake lead 32 over the top, man. First play we come out, hit a 60-yard bomb to my little man Ben. And after that, Long was like, man, get this going, because we go home and it's 32-0. But I guess they don't stop the game. They just get the clock running. So we end up winning 49-0. I wanted to put 50 up, but we're off this week. We got Wagner here in 2 weeks, so that'll be fun. I'm sorry, I took it back. We got Omogi here in 2 weeks, so this is my last year doing it. I promise I'm gonna retire after this, but it's fun doing it though. So, what we got next, Big E?
Next, we already talked about McKinney Boyd versus Midwest City. McKinney Boyd came on top, 37-0, and then Sapulpa and Sand Springs.
That was a hell of a game.
Yeah, Sand Springs. I would not expect them to go out there and put 53 points on the board, to be completely honest. But
E, you heard me say it on the show. Watch out for them sand dikes. I know Ronnie gave you hell at the glimpse of gold or whatever it's called, but I'm telling you right here, them sand dikes is real deal. I'm telling you, they're gonna upset some people. People don't realize, man. My brother called me the other night. He goes, man, who was that supposed to play? I said, well, Sand Springs. And Bobby Clink's a good coach, man. I played college ball, so the guy got it clicking. And you know how it is, man. Your first year there, you gotta figure things out. Now you got, and then his tailback is a wrestler, which is a tough nosed kid. I think it's Jones is his last name. The QB looks like he's very excellent. And I'm telling you, man, they're gonna run a tight program. Anytime you got a college coach that played at the Division I level, has been around and played some, and he has some kids move in, and you know how that is. With moving, you get one or two movers can change the program in from night and day. But I tell you, they're gonna fight for a playoff spot on that side of the state. The Choctaw, Bigsby, Bigsby, Booker T, Choctaw, and those guys are gonna fight. Who's gonna get that first, second, third. Right now, I know Aaron's just sitting in the room listening to us, but right now I would probably put Booker T #1. I don't know what Bigsby got. I think that quarterback play is going to do a lot to see what they got at QB. You'll see a lot what they got tomorrow night when they face against Jinx. So the biggest thing, like I said, is staying healthy.
Absolutely. Moving on to 5A.
Big upset. 5A.
Big upset in 5A. You got Bishop McGinnis losing to Coweta. Very close game. Only lost by a touchdown, but Bishop McGinnis is that team that's usually right up there with Carl Albert in 5A, and they end up taking a loss to Coweta. Maybe Coweta's got things rolling this year. I think that'd be really cool to see somebody else in there battling to try to take on the Carl Albert Titans. They're Carl Albert's going for their 6th straight state championship, and they open up their season tomorrow against Midwest City. I plan on being at that game. But yeah, I think it's just in 5A. It all comes down to who's going to be playing Carl Albert in the state championship.
I don't know, man. Big E. I tell you, with Carl Albert, man, is going to have to come back quarterback play. Right now, I know they're still kind of trying to battle. I think Reed kind of leads the way, but the kids never started a varsity game Friday night against his daddy's old team, black and gold, man. And you know they're gonna come after you, man. They're gonna pin their ears back, come after the kid because he's young. First true high school game under the lights, man. Over at Midwood City, not at home. I know it's up the street, but it's still at Midwood City where your daddy played, where your uncles played. Your name is a legend over there at Midwood City as a crazy. I know they got Brazil, the running back, but him coming off shoulder surgery, is he 100%? And having a new running back, Xavier sophomore career, he's a real deal. So you lose a lot. You lose that many seniors and kids transfer out. You really want to know where they're going to be at. What's going to happen. Can he take them to a state championship? I said it earlier in the year that he could be the 5A player of the year. He's going to crank it up tomorrow. And talking about Bixby. Not Bixby, but Bishop McGinnis losing their quarterback. Luke the Juke the Freak was for the last 2 years he held it down. Took him to a state championship. And when you lose somebody like that, it's hard to replace, man. And anybody knows. I don't care. Everybody always wants the backup quarterback. I'm telling you right now, when you've been a quarterback, starting quarterback, and that's the starting quarterback is another coach on the field. If you ever played the game of football, you'll know that. The starting quarterback is coach on the field. So if you got somebody that can go out there and lead you and not get you lined up, get you in the right snap count, and all those kind of things, and check off, I tell you, that person can do. Can Bishop McGinnis quarterback do that? Can Reed the Crazy do that? I don't know. It's have to be proven. But I tell you, we probably got a kid that's coming back. They probably got a lot of kids that are coming back off that state, that playoff team that made it to the semifinals last year and get beat up by the Titans. But we'll see. I think Colliver, I said it earlier in the year, I think Colliver lose two, maybe 3 ball games. I'm sorry, Amy Russell, but let's keep it at 100 over here. High school sports, but I think they'll lose 2 ball games for sure.
All right. Moving on to 4A. Tuttle versus Sulphur. It's usually 2 of the top teams in 4A. Tuttle comes away with the win, 28-0. And then Cleveland versus Newcastle. Newcastle beats Cleveland 40-0.
But that's not the Cleveland. That's not our coach Cleveland. That's not his team. That was a Cleveland team out of Kansas. So.
Oh, they put the wrong Cleveland on.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not Coach. Was it Styler?
Yeah, Coach Styler.
It's not his team. My buddy Marcus, his kid goes to Newcastle. He said, no, that team's out of Kansas. That's not Coach's team. So
we'll blame Squirtle for that one.
Yes.
Squirtle got the wrong team on there. And then another one, Jones versus Bethany, and isn't it?
That's 2 different classes.
Yeah, that's 2 different classes.
Classes. But I'll tell you, everybody say Carson May's the best quarterback in the state. You're the best quarterback in the state. You got to lead your team. I know when I played with Gundy and Jeremy and AJ, those guys, when they stepped in the field, man, they had that killer instinct. I know Carson might not have all the weapons around him that he needs, but I tell you, Coach Mark's a good coach, so he's got to get those guys coached. But I know you played the class. Yeah. Jones is 2 smaller classes than Bethany. Bethany's always pretty decent, but Bethany had a bunch of guys going both ways, so you got to take advantage of that. And so I don't know if Jones was ready. The new turf might have got him. They used to play on that dirty-ass field. Maybe the new turf got him and it was stage stroke. I don't know, but they're going to have to turn it on because, Jones always got a target on the back. So, losing that first game, at home, it's tough because, in those small towns, man, you lose, they're ready to run the coach out of town. So, Coach Martin, I hope he wasn't over at Johnny Pat's. Nobody was giving you hell. So, good luck to you this week.
Yeah. All right, moving on to this week's matchups. In 6A1, we got a bunch of good ones on here. Topping it off, I think we got the state champion from 6A2 and last year's state champion from 6A1 facing off against each other in a week.
I'm going to pick Jinx.
You're going to pick Jinx?
Taking
Jinx over Bixby. I think I'm going to have to pick Bixby, to be honest. Because Jinx, yes, they played a pretty good team from Texas, but so did Bixby. Bixby absolutely obliterated them, and then Jinx barely squeaked by. So I think Bixby, I know it's week 1, but as of right now, Bixby's got the better resume, so I'm going to have to go with Bixby.
Well, Bixby's coming with a new quarterback. Yeah, they still got the tailback back, and they still got the top receiver and tight end, whatever you want to call them, the best in the state. But I'm going to tell you, though, having that QB, man, that hurts a lot. Like I said, same thing that Colliver was going through, same thing that Bishop McGinnis is going through, is having a quarterback. Their quarterback is a 3-year starter. That guy led them in 3 years. He won through the 3 state championship with them. You got a new guy. At one point in time, I was reading, they had 2 guys that was battling for the quarterback spot. So you got 2 guys battling, you had to choose one of them. So I don't know. You'll find out tomorrow night. But I'm going to pick Jinx I think Jinx is just the real deal, man. I think they got that train rolling again. I know Trevor's passed on, but I know he had it going for a while. I'm just telling you, Jinx is. I think they got it going again. I think Wassel can't touch him. I don't think Tulsa Beauty can touch him. I think Jinx is a real deal.
All right. Another good matchup. Broken Arrow versus Union. Two powerhouse. I mean, you can loosely with Broken Arrow. I mean, this recently within the past few years they become a powerhouse, but Union, another one of those historic teams out of Tulsa. So I mean, that should be a really good game. It's at Union. A lot of talent on both Broken Arrow and Union. A lot of D1 recruits, 3-star, 4-star, maybe 5-star athletes. Not completely sure, but that should be a good game. And then we got Norman and Norman North playing tonight.
We gonna check that game out. My co-worker, his son plays for Norman. And one thing I'll talk about this game real quick is something I'm gonna bring up. I know people probably saw it on the news. I know we do stuff when when I play against Del City. We put the chicken buckets on our head, stuff like that. Maybe go, spray paint something in their field or something. But one thing they did do, I saw they put I don't know if anybody else saw this. They had the Norman North face of the cop, and then they had the Norman face of Floyd, like being choked out, and said they're gonna kill him. Yeah. Which I know is all fun and games, but that stuff is kind of taken it to another level. And it's, I'm telling you, man, football, high school football, and we'll have Aaron on here. He'll tell you he played high school, pro, and in college. High school football is the funnest, man, because they're your brothers, man. You're going to do dumb shit. I remember doing a pep assembly. I remember me trying to rap. We put the chicken bucket playing Del City. I hated Del City, man. We couldn't stand Del City. But after the game, we all went out and kicked. Yeah. So you see those guys as bragging rights, but you can't do dumb stuff like that. And it's a kid being a kid. Am I mad? No, because, it's just a kid being a kid. If it's one of my kids did, I'd probably yell and scream at him, probably take his phone away for a couple of days. But at the end of the day, it's a kid being a kid. And I know some people, they make it a racial thing, and like to me, being an African-American man, it was dumb for that kid's part. But we got to look on past that. There was a kid being a kid. I'll tell you what happened with Snapchat these days and this Instagram. These kids put that stuff on there and they send it to their buddy, then somebody else send it to somebody else. And guess what? Now it's spread like wildfire. Yeah. So somebody that shouldn't have got it did get it, and now it's a big deal. So hopefully that kid don't get in too much trouble, don't get expelled from school, maybe get suspended, and maybe get some counseling. I don't think he meant it by any racial. I just think he's been we're gonna kick the shit out of you tonight. So that's part of football. Yeah.
A lot of rivalries in 6A1 this week. UConn Mustang, it's a pretty big rivalry. Edmond North and Edmond Memorial, another pretty big rivalry, and then Moore and Westmore. So a lot of big rivalry games. Going to be some crazy atmospheres. And that's really what I live for. It's like, I don't care, like, now that I'm done playing football, I don't have like favorite team, whatever. I don't got people that I'm rooting on. But I go, I can go to a game and just enjoy the environment and the electricity and just the energy. Like I always say, like I'm not a fan of Penn State at all, but I've always wanted to go to a Penn State whiteout game just because of how energetic the crowd is and how they're all into it. But that's just the kind of things that I live for. But moving on to 6A2. Got Carl Alba versus Midwest City, another mentioning them again. Another big rivalry across town. They are only about 10 minutes away from each other, and that should be a pretty good game. Like you said, Carl Albert, they're trying to figure out their quarterback situation. They got a lot of new faces over there, and then Midwest City. I think they returned quite a few guys. They did lose a few guys, but.
They got to just figure this stuff out. They kind of changed their offense around and running more of an option, And QB, he's a good kid, but I just think running an option and say he's taking a beat, and I hope they get it figured out. I'm really close to a lot of those guys over there. Me and Coach Thomas are really good friends. We probably talk every other night. Love him like a brother. He's a good coach. He's coaching JV. His main deal is track, but I'll tell you right now, I told you everybody on the show, my Bombers will be down this year. Next year they go to 5A. I think they're competing 5A. But there's nothing wrong with being down there. Everybody's going to be down. Football is like that circle. It's going to come back around. Who else you got?
Springdale and Choctaw. Springdale, a team that Choctaw went and played last year in Arkansas. They're an Arkansas team. Coach Corbin and their coach over there got a little home and home set up, so this will be pretty sure the final game of that series. But you talk about last year, they ended up losing to Springdale, but they have to take into it. I'm not trying to make excuses or anything, but
I hear you. He's a homer. He's a homer.
No. But they had to quarantine for that week. Weren't able to practice. They're having to have meetings over Zoom and everything like that. But I think they're going to see a completely different Choctaw team this year, having a full week of practice under their belt, having a full week of install and all that good stuff. So that should be a pretty good game. That's at Choctaw this year, so that should be pretty exciting. See if there's anything else over here on 5A2. Sand Springs and Bishop Kelly. Bishop Kelly, a 5A team. They lost last week.
Sand Springs. Sand Springs was 5. I'm sorry. Bishop Kelly is 5A.
Yeah, Bishop Kelly's 5A.
So Sand Springs should win that game. Choctaw, I'm gonna pick that score. I'm gonna put 28-14 Choctaw. Like I said, I think you're gonna see a better football game than you saw last week. Yeah. Playing against a full team. That team beat them last year, but I think Choctaw's gonna try to get a little revenge. Like I said, they're trying to get to that gold ball again, though. We'll hear more about that when we bring Aaron on. But let's speed this up, man. Because I'm trying to get on this show, man.
5A, there's not much else going on in 5A. I already mentioned it a bunch of times. Carl Albert, Midwest City. Noble versus Blanchard. Blanchard's a pretty good team, or they have been in the past. Noble, they're they're getting a little bit better. Guthrie and Putnam City West. Guthrie a 5A team, Putnam City West being a 6A team. I think Guthrie will win that game.
Yes, PC West got they're about as bad as that Virginia team. They probably got the same amount. Actually, they should just come together and make one team. It could be called the PC Virginias, something like that. I'm saying. Poor Laney, man, Bert, you got to get that football pro. I know you got that basketball rolling, but you got to get that football team rolling over there, man. And you got all them athletes, so get them out in the halls, man, and get them in football.
But yeah, and then 4A got Hominy versus Cleveland. I'm excited to see what Cleveland's able to do this season. Just with having that offensive mastermind that they have over there. And then Tuttle at Plainview. I think Tuttle will win that game. I think Tuttle has a pretty good chance to win 4A this year. But I think that pretty much does it for all this week's top matchups. So we come back after this break, we'll have Aaron McConnell on. So we'll be right back after one of these sponsors.
Keep it 100 Oklahoma High School Sports. Hey Zoe, I'm looking for some good insurance. Do you know anybody?
If you're tired of messing with the general, call Bobby Lewis. He can take care of your cars, house, boats, and even your pets. He has 2 locations, Del City, 4805 Southeast 44th Street. The number is 405-670-3665. And his new location is 1654 South Choctaw Road, Suite 107. Like a good neighbor, Bobby Lewis is there.
Welcome back to Keeping It 100 Oklahoma High School Sports on this Thursday afternoon with a special guest that's inside the studio. He didn't want to talk on the phone. I guess he wanted everybody to see his beautiful face, man. Mr. Aaron McConnell. How you doing, Aaron?
Man, I'm good.
That's good to have you on the show. Aaron, for the listeners who don't know me, I know you've been around you. You played at the same school I played at, New City. I know you're back as a Yellow Jacket. But for the listeners who don't know you, tell a little bit about yourself.
Man, football's pretty much been life. Once high school ended, I went to college and then went free agent into the NFL. Wasn't there very long. I always joke and say I was there for a cup of coffee. Wasn't there very long. Ended up in the Arena League. Played there for 8 years. Retired. Opened up a sports training gym for kids. Sold that in 16 and moved back here.
That's cool.
So, yeah, and then I've been coaching. My oldest is a senior. Started coaching him year 1 and kind of been coaching ever since.
Oh, okay, Aaron. So after a successful year, playing at the Midwest City Mighty Bombers, as you transferred from Choctaw to Midwest City, what was kind of your take on that? Because I know back then,
right?
Choctaw was very good.
They're still.
Back then, I'm not talking about. They were a homecoming.
They were 1-9. They were. If you played Choctaw game 1, your homecoming was game 1. It was bad. And so that was kind of my big deal. My dream was to go further. My brother played ahead of me, and they were 1-9 when he was at Choctaw. And he just there was never really any college opportunity. That was my goal. And so moving to Midwest City, so we up and moved out of Winsong, moved to Crescent Circle, got in Midwest City as a sophomore. There are still people that talk about that are still mad at me. About me. Jeff Flaggart, every time he sees me, he says something about me leaving and going to Midwest City. And I mean, at the time, it was what was best for me.
No,
Future. And so,
it's funny you say that because I got some guys I went to school with. John Hancock, he's at Midwest City for the longest, and he's out at Washington as a principal now, along with Tony Reynolds. Not Tony, but Tony's brother, Chris Reynolds. They kind of gave me hell for a long time, for leaving Midwest City and then bringing my kids to Choctaw. And one of the things that's so funny because people give you hell about it. I know what you're talking about because they want you to stay at home. But at the time, Midwest City didn't have a wrestling program. You was at you know how Midwest City was when you was there. But Choctaw had a great wrestling program. And like I tell people all the time, when we decided to come to Choctaw, we came for wrestling. But as we're here, my boys did play football, so we did want to get the football up and going. And so I think there's been a big thing that Jake has done, and and you've been part of the Touchdown Club. What's it kind of like? You've been part of it and working hand, side by side with Jake. Kind of getting this to where they're at right now.
Man, I mean, it's that a little bit. You were a part of it as well in the beginning, and it's definitely kind of hold on. You know what I mean? There's our kids are treated. There's a lot of things they get. They're treated like like big programs, like D1 athletes, and so as the Touchdown Club president, it's kind of okay. You have a list of things they coach once, and you figure out how to make it happen. At any meet, you begging people for money all the time, and just to try to make things happen. But it's definitely been neat just being a part of that. I guess a part of the kind of the end part of the transition. You were kind of there at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Now coming in the year 2 of it, it's definitely been pretty cool. It's been kind of a neat ride, but better just sitting back and watching the mentality change of everybody around Choctaw football.
Yeah.
That's been the coolest part.
And this is the funny thing is, like I say, as you sit here, some of the top teams is Ada, Carl Albert, Jinx, won all state championships. And it's done a lot, and anytime anybody that has won a state championship knows that, hey, kid's going to come in. So as you see, have you been here for the last, like I said, you still got 2 younger boys. Have you been here with your older son being a senior? As you see a lot of kids are starting to transfer in now, what do you think that's coming from?
Success. Definitely success. And I think anytime kids come in or out, it's kids come in, they want to be a part of success, just no different than, me leaving Choctaw, going to Midwest City, wanting to be a part of success. I think you get a lot of kids now wanting to play at Choctaw. I think you get a lot of people trying to make that happen. You get parents trying to, I know my parents did. My parents up and moved.
Mm-hmm.
My dad come home on a Tuesday. We were talking about it that night. My dad come home on Thursday and said, hey, I put an offer in on the house. You have a lot of parents that want to make that happen for their kids. And it's neat to watch how many of them are trying to do that because kids want to be a part of what Choctaw's doing. Right. Everything from back to that Touchdown Club. We have 3 helmets now. We have a gold, a white, and a black.
Mm-hmm.
Kids want, as crazy as some of our alumni, if you want to call them that, say things like that are overboard or too much. But you get a lot of kids, man. You want to look good. You know what I mean?
Oh,
you definitely want to be a part of that.
Yes.
And so, I think a lot of the kids coming in and it has to do with the success we have, and I think to the success that they see this place having in the future.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
You got one?
Yeah, there have been a lot of concerns about, the student, like the whole student athlete just transferring and stuff like that, so, and then you doing it yourself, just kind of further, what are your thoughts on, because Choctaw's brought in a lot of kids. Carl Albert, you've seen a lot of transfers from Choctaw. Just what are some of your thoughts on that?
Truly, in my heart, I think everybody, sits at home at night. When you come home as a kid and you sit down with mom and dad and you guys talk about it, you're doing what is best for you. And at that moment, you're doing what's best for your kids. I think as a parent, that's what we all do. And so, there are a lot of kids moving around. You have them, in Choctaw, in Carl Albert, into Westmore. And there's kids moving everywhere. And I think kids are doing that to what's best for their person. There's a lot of people that have kind of talked about your homegrown Choctaw kids transferring out because somebody else has come in and so they're leaving, and it's that's your decision as a parent to allow that. For me, I'm gonna tell you right now, my oldest son, God gave it to me, 6'6", 300 pounds.
Yeah.
My middle son is 6 foot, 160 pounds. He gonna have to work,
Yeah.
and right now he's playing free safety because he'll come downhill and he'll light you up.
Yeah.
when the time comes for, obviously he's just playing freshman, but when that time comes, he's going to have to get better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's going to have to get better, find somewhere else. We're not leaving. Well, but that's my family. That's our decision. And so a lot of other people are. And I think, I truly believe that people are, they get mad at others or they fault others for doing that. For me, and there's a couple kids that I've coached since, 3rd and 4th grade that have left Choctaw. And anytime I see them, I high-five those kids. I still call them kids by their nickname. I talk to their parents.
Yeah.
You want nothing but success for them. You know what I mean?
And that's how it should be.
It's exactly how it should be. You're exactly right. So,
So do you feel like you have a bunch of rumbling though? Because like you said, you do have kids that's packing up.
A bunch of rumbling. I think.
I saw your post the other day, man.
I did. Yeah, and I've stayed quiet a ton. We've talked about it. I think a lot of people talk, and I'd stayed quiet a long time. And here's my deal, man. I wear my, whether it's my love for my kids, my love for my school, my love for my job, I wear that stuff on my sleeve. And I don't have a problem saying that. Usually I always joke and I always say, well, I mean, they can beat me up if they want, but I'm gonna say how I feel.
Yes, sir.
And so for me, the rumbling is the craziest thing for me is as a grown adult, when a kid leaves and goes somewhere else, for a grown adult to do all they can to either make that kid look bad, to get that kid in trouble, to make that seem like it's a wrong thing, only hurts that kid. It doesn't make that adult look any better. It doesn't make that school look any better. It doesn't make, and when it's all said and done, it doesn't make that school look bad. It hurts that kid. And so is what kills me is here lately, the more and more people that are talking about it socially, or that are, reaching out to OSSAA and trying to, we're going to catch them, or we're going to do this, whether it's Choctaw, whether it's Carl Albert, Del City, Westmore, Midwest City, whoever it is. As an adult, when you stop and really think about you're being an idiot, when you stop and really think about what you're doing, if there is something wrong, that kid can now no longer play football. No matter what's said and done, that kid, you loses a year of eligibility.
So you think people think you guys are doing the wrong thing at Choctaw?
I think people, not just Choctaw. I mean, I think a lot of people are directed at Choctaw. Here's what's funny is you have, like this year, I believe, and I'm horrible as a president of knowing kids' names. I will high-five a kid. I have nicknames. There's kids on my 3rd grade football team. I couldn't tell you their real name. Mm-hmm. So I don't know everybody by name, but I know that, we've had like 1 kid move in. We've had 6 move out. Everybody's talking crap about it. We have 1 kid. And but all these 6 that move, it's like, we just don't talk about them. And it's like, come on, man. How can you?
I think one of the things that, and I hear a lot because doing this show, me and he get to hear more stuff. You take something with the grain of salt, like, it's whatever. But I think a lot of people are thinking that, hey, these kids are moving in, but they're coming taking these other kids' position that live here in Choctaw, that pay taxes here in Choctaw. Like me, I had to move into Choctaw. And, somebody said the other night, I love you, Benny Coleman, you my man, you my dog, I love you. But, Benny's like, so Benny's one of the best guys that can recruit and get kids in. If he did, I mean, and I know when we came over, and he told us, hey, you got to get a house. Right. We didn't cheat. I mean, and I'm not saying these guys were cheating, right. But I'm saying we had to get a house. I had a house in Del City, which, I almost left and went back to Del City, but we decided to stay here because, one, Gabe wasn't going to leave Choctaw. He's not that type of kid. He said, hey, we started here, we're going to finish here. Right. And that's cool. And then, like I told you last week, turned out to be the best year they ever had. But I think a lot of people thinking, hey, these kids are moving in, but they're not getting homes, or they're not transferring. They're staying at their own place and they're not paying taxes. That's what a lot of the wrong that I hear.
Absolutely.
And so
here's what I tell people. When people say that to us all the time, that's what I tell them. When's the last time you followed that kid home? Did you follow that kid home from school, or are you just talking? Because usually they're just talking.
Yeah.
You have no idea. And like I'll go 2 years ago or a year ago, whenever Chase was one. It was always funny people talking, and it's like, man, I told a car to his house. Like I know where the kid lives. And so it's always funny that people that talk and these people aren't like prove it. You know what I mean? Go, and people always talk about the coaches know this and the coach. I promise you there has never been a time a high school coach has followed a kid home from practice just to see where that kid lives. Like,
no, I don't think that. But I think the whole deal with, I know you bring up the Chase deal. I don't think Chase lived in Choctaw at the first beginning. And I mean, we're talking about that. I'm a true believer of that because my kids did take him home. So I knew where he lived. Right. Did he move in Choctaw? Yes, he did move into Choctaw as the season went on. So Chase is done. He's gone.
Right.
Good luck to him at TCU.
Absolutely.
But I'm saying, does that stuff happen? Yes. I mean, should you follow the kid or should I follow the kid? No, but I'm saying it does happen.
Right. And I don't say it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
By no means.
You know,
There's
that's
kids
kind of like
all over.
that's kind of like, you know, it's like the Quasi deal. You know, people watching him. You know, I mean, he had to move out of this $700,000 home, and now he's living wherever. I don't even know where the guy lives. Right. You know, it's none of my business. But like I said, it's funny because people do talk about it. Like you said, you had 6 kids move out of Choctaw.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one's talking about that, but you're talking about the kids that's moving in.
Right.
All right, I'll tell you. You know, my little cousin just moved over there, Lamonte's boy, Cameron Hunt, and then I told Lamonte, I said, if you're gonna do everything right, you better do it right because people gonna watch you.
Absolutely.
You're leaving PC North, a school. It's not like you're leaving Douglas. Not like you're leaving Northwest Classen. And the coach might not give a care, but that coach cared.
Right.
And I told him when he got on that little ramp on Facebook and Twitter, no, cut that out because all that's doing is bringing more attention to you and to that school. And if you're gonna do things right, because at the end of the day, you know, it boils down to jealousy. Absolutely. You know, it does. But also, and I'm a firm believer, I think you should do it right. If you are going to move in, get you a house. I had to get a house. Right. You had to get a house. You talked about your mom and dad. Right. You know, I mean, they had this nice established here in Choctaw. Yep. They had to move to Mill City. I had to leave Del City to come to Choctaw. So I just think it's crazy because, like I said, I know you got on that ramp the other day, and it's so funny. And this is funny, Aaron, because when you got on the ramp, everybody said that to me. They said, I think he's talking about you. And I said, I'm going to tell you something about me and Aaron.
Yeah.
Anna called me.
I'll call you.
We keep it 100.
Absolutely.
Anna called me.
Absolutely.
We might yell on the phone and people might not know about it, but Anna called me. Yep. You know, if I say something that Aaron don't like, we cool enough. Right. I mean, we cool enough that we can talk it out. Right. But that's one reason I brought him on the show because I want people to air it out. And it ain't me and Aaron fighting. Yeah, he wants the best for, like I said, he does the Little League program. And one thing I want to talk about, you know, we can jump on that. You've done a great job with the Little League program, brother. I think that you are getting kids to come in here with the atmosphere of what you're doing with the Little League, because there's not a Little League in Midwest City. When I played with the Bombers, we had, you know, Telstar, we had, you know, Woodson. You don't have that no more, so you're controlling the Little League, you know. It's like you had a festival a couple weeks ago. You had all the teams come out and play all damn day long. Right. And so you're bringing the joy. You know, Ryan Hurst, man, you know, he picks up Zoe every day from school, and he talks about Cannon. You know, he's a Carl Albert guy. Right. Cannon's time I want to be a jacket down because I saw him the other day, he had his little jacket, you know, football stuff on. But I'm saying these kids see that. Absolutely. And so it is crazy because Choctaw, I mean, I hear it all day at work. You know, what is Choctaw doing out there, man? How did they get this? How did they get that? I said, hey, man, they've done a good job. But like I said, the only thing I wanted to clear up is that, hey, not me and Aaron fight. No way. You know, he's doing a great job with the Little League program. He's doing a good job with the, you know, with the Touchdown Club. And I'm telling you, he knows that's hard work. But, you know, one thing, you know, like I said, with the, you know, a lot of the coaches that coached at Midwest City and coached at, you know, Carl Albert, why is Carl Albert and Choctaw's never going to get a game? I think that'd be beautiful.
I think it'd be great.
What do you think it's going to take to get that?
I don't know what it would take to get it, but I promise I got a little bit of financial help to make it happen. If we got to rent a place, we would love it. I mean, it and not just them. You know, I think there's a lot of other teams as well that Choctaw wants to get hold of.
Yeah.
And you know, and real quick, I'm gonna touch the youth program. That is something that we have poured our heart into, and that is definitely something that, on a note for me. You can use that and let kids see what Choctaw is. Mm-hmm. Let kids see what Choctaw has to offer. You know, I'm fixing to move houses, so you know, my kids are going to be transferring in
from Colorado.
I'm moving out south.
I heard you bought a big old house.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I'm building a little place to lay my head, and we will be. And there's 4 other kids in that neighborhood that play on my football team, and I'm all the time. I'm like, hey, so. Y'all coming, right? I tell everybody, I joke and say I'm moving into the cult to bring them out, you know, into that neighborhood. Yeah. To bring and it's funny because, you know, you have Darcy Buddy's a principal at the school, and she laughs all the time. She's like, oh, we're Bombers, we're Middle City. Yeah. And I still always joke, I'm like, man, your son looks real good in blue and gold though. Yeah. And I promise, I'm daily telling these kids how awesome they look in this chart.
That's the thing about it though, Aaron. You know this business as well as anybody. You know, you played in the pro. You know, you played for the, you know, like I said, you played for Pitt, Oklahoma State. Then you went to Pitt. Then you played, you know, some semi-pro and pro with the Tennessee Titans. You know the business. You know how this works, man, and that's a good thing that you know how to market your kids. And I think sometimes and I'm not knocking the coaches. I think sometimes these parents think coach got to do everything. And I tell you, I've learned that with my 2 boys, I'm going to market the shit out of Zoe.
Promise.
I'm going to tell you right now. And we get calls all the time like, hey, can she play in this tournament? Hey, can she do this? And you know, and this is going to be at the end of the day, you know, I mean, Zoe will tell you she's going to be a bomber. I have one kid, you know, she says all the time, I want to be a bomber. I'm gonna go to. She goes to Soldier Creek now. She goes, I'm gonna go to Colorado Middle School, but then I'm transferred to Middle City. I was like, hey, okay, you got to. I guess you got to work that. I guess you got to ride the school and all that.
Right.
But that's and like you said, coaching these kids and all that stuff, and you want your kids that you coach to come play for you and be with your son and keep building that program. But like I said, I just think that the other day with that ramp though, I just think people had to hear your side and let you know. Like you said, I think people get to talking and like you said, I don't know about following kids home because that's their business. I know I got too much shit to do and you do too.
Way too much.
Now you might follow a kid home and pick his car up or something like that from the record service. But you got anything else?
Yeah, so who are some of the key players on Choctaw? I only know so many of the guys that I played with, but some of those younger guys that are coming up, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, who are some of those key guys over at Choctaw?
I think some of your younger guys that are going to be coming up, if I don't throw a plug in for my own son, he's going to kill me, but Braven is in his group, so his little group of boys, I've coached that group since second grade. You've got from Cash Williams, you got the little Juju kid, you have Josh McGinnis, you have little Gribnall. Those are some linemen that I think are going to be studs. You have a kid, I call him Big Bang, till just not too long ago, I didn't know his name was Ronnie Coslow. He's been Big Bang since like second grade. I really think there's a lot of young guys coming up. Some of your sophomores that are coming in. I think once you hit that freshman class is going to kind of be your next big boy class. I think you have a lot of skill positions until then. That freshman group is going to be a lot of your big boy group. But there's definitely, I don't see a big fall off once the senior class is gone. This is a very heavy senior class, especially big boys. I don't think there's a huge fall off, and I think the coaches do a great job every year of getting them ready again. But, I think there's enough kids coming in the line, and then obviously you go all the way down to 7th, 8th grade. I think there's a ton of kids coming that's going to keep Choctaw at the top for a while.
Yeah,
that's cool. So why do you think a lot of these teams now are starting to play teams out of state? Is it more exposure for the team, for the high schools, or what? Because like you got your first 3 games, the non-conference games with Virginia, Arkansas, and then the Dallas team.
It's harder to find, and this is something I have, kind of asked Jake about before and been through the process of, so like Dallas Jesuit's paying us to come there. We pay, Virginia to come here. I think it's harder to find in-state teams that want to play in-state teams. Yeah. And I just think everybody, and people always ask us why you waste that money, why are you doing that? Go ask the kid how cool it is to play Virginia, Arkansas, and Dallas first 3 games. Mm-hmm. Like what high school kids can say they Midwest City went to Texas.
Yeah.
That's the coolest trip ever. You go up, you ride a bus up there, you stay the night. Some of the people ask me all the time if I miss playing football. And I don't miss waking up the next morning and rolling out of bed and crawling for the first 5. So I don't miss playing football. I miss this. I miss hanging out on that bus with the guys.
Yes,
I miss playing spades. I miss playing spades the night before the game. That's the stuff I miss. Yeah. I don't miss the football itself. So letting these kids have that now. Your high school friends. I still talk to high school friends now. You have your high school friends forever. And so that's what it's about. And I think the coaches understand that. And as a touchdown club, we understand that. We have to raise the money for it because of the experience that kids are getting.
Yes, sir.
But it's definitely, I think, harder to find in-state games. I think it's a lot harder for, teams don't want to go play somebody in-state. You don't want to get beat by somebody in the same state. It's, if you go to Texas and get beat down, well, Texas is supposed to beat us.
It's supposed to be.
We go to Arkansas last year and get hammered. Arkansas is supposed to beat us. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, obviously you want to win those games. By no means do I think it's okay. But at the same time, I think that's why everybody's doing it. I think it's a cool thing to do. It's really cool for these kids.
That's good stuff. Though. Like I said, let's keep it 100. Last year you guys kind of came up short in the championship. Man, you're what on the 20-yard line from winning your first goal ball at Choctaw.
Yeah.
And you guys come up short. So, what are some of the teams you think this year is going to be in your way from you guys getting back?
Man, I to be honest, you guys were talking about it earlier, and I was kind of shaking my head, getting to watch some of that film with our little youth. We have a huddle deal, so we're always on there watching some of the future teams, and I don't think there's one standing in the way that's not going to, a team that we play that's not in the way. Yeah. I think our first 6 weeks are
that's Coach Talk right there, folks. That's Coach Talk. That's Coach Talk. He ain't keeping it 100. That's Coach Talk.
I think, I think some of the first 6 games, if you can get through, the first 3 don't matter. They're still going to be, like Dallas is unreal. They're going to be a great game. But really those, you want to win them, but they really don't matter in the grand scheme of things. No. Stay healthy.
Stay healthy.
Have fun. That's the key. That Booker T's going to tell you a whole lot about what Choctaw's got.
Yeah.
They're not the same Booker T.
No, they're not the same Booker T.
Last year the game was, I think, handled. I think we had it handled.
Yeah.
You know, but this year I don't think it's going to be that way. You know,
I tell you, Aaron, I tell you, the sleepers, man, it's Sand Springs. I'm telling you, man. I mean, my brother called me just last night. And he's like, man, did you watch Sand Springs? Those are some big old boys. And you know, you guys are big up front, man. I think you guys got a lot of team speed. I know you talk about the trail kid's real good. The number is a Juju kid, number 6.
Yep.
I got a chance to watch a little film with him, and I tell you, that kid is just. He's like a Speedy Gonzalez, man.
He's special.
You know, and I think right now what you got, you know, with Choctaw, you got some depth. You got some guys, you know, and that's me watching film and being a guru. I don't know if you have the same type of receivers you had the last few years. I think you can. I mean, one of the kids I'm in love with, he'll tell you, is Jack. Is it Jack Smith?
Yeah.
I think that kid's a workhorse, man. I'm saying he's just
absolutely.
Yeah, they called him
he's always
Swiss Army knife.
Absolutely, he's always in a spot, always open. You know, Burchett's another one. I don't think we have the speed that's going to take off. You know, Juju is a kid that definitely. I mean, he can take off and leave some people.
Yeah.
I think CJ can take off and leave some, but I just from what I know, and again, I don't know a lot of kids' names, but speaking on the kids I do know, I think they're more receivers that are going to get open than they are receivers going to beat you.
Yeah, that's it. They run great routes.
They run great routes. They're very crisp. They're going to catch a ball. And you know what? One of the things about us with having Steele, one of the things he's so good at is the dude moves.
Yeah.
He's not a tower. Tower's just going to stand there. Even if there is a pocket like Steele's going to make a play.
Yeah.
And which is great to have the receivers that understand that.
Yeah, they can take off.
They understand. They know to take off. Like soon as Steele takes a step, they're out of their route. They're doing something different. And what's funny is, man, you know the things people don't see is so many times in the off season, you see those guys about 6-7 receivers in Steele, and they're doing what I call dumb, crazy stuff up at the field, running routes. It's not your typical post route. You're not your typical, but they're doing that because that's what happens on the field. And those are the things that make them what they are. Make those receivers. They're not guys that every college in the country is going to be beating the doors down for. But at the same time, the colleges that know those guys are going to catch routes. Yeah. Those are the ones coming after them because those guys are going to catch. They're going to catch balls.
So I mean, right now you got what 7? How many guys you got?
I think there's 7. I think there's 6 or 7. I believe you have Cade, Alton, Steele, CJ, Deshaun. Man, I know there's somebody I'm missing. They're going to be mad I'm missing them.
What is that, 6?
That's 5. I believe there's one more, and I can't. 1 or 2 more, and I can't remember who it is. RJ.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so you look at that, and I know there's some other ones that
right there on the door.
Right there on the door. I mean, right on the door. I think they got, you know, once as the season gets going and as they kind of do their thing and prove whether they can or can't, I think some of those things are going to come.
I think the one kid, the little troll kid. I mean, we talked highly about him. I think he's his size is kind of small, but he's going to have to take a perfect college and want him like a K-State, you know, a school that likes smaller backs. But I think he, you know, I don't know how good his hands are, but I'm telling you, when he gets the ball, man, he goes, man. He goes.
I mean, straight ahead.
He goes another
Lightning
level.
ball.
So do you feel like the defense could be as good as last year's defense?
Different. You know what I mean? They're different. Getting to kind of watch the Mustang, the inner squad, and then the other night against Beacon Hill, they're different. You know, McCaffrey on the line. You have, I'll tell you who was unreal was Rome. You know, Rome. When you look at him, he doesn't look like a guy that dude is in every. I mean, yes. he was hitting people with a purpose the other night, and I think he got out of baseball mode and flipped football mode. Yeah. He was hitting people with a purpose.
I mean, he's a 3-year starter.
It was impressive.
And that's what you did, though. That's what. I remember the kid was a QB. He switched over from QB to linebacker, man. And, you know, I know some, I mean, and, you know, there's not a lot of Tyler Murrays and Baker Mayfields that, you know, 5'10", 5'11", they can do things. But I think him as a high school linebacker, I think he's one of the best around. I mean, I just think he is, man. And I'll tell you another kid is his counterpart right there.
Bowles.
That's what I was getting ready to
go.
Yeah. I've told Bowles this a million times, and I've told 100 people this a million times. I think he is one of the most athletic overall, any sport, just athletic kid in Choctaw. I think there's a whole lot more that goes into it that he'll get a little more. But I definitely think he is athletically, he does stuff and it's just like, holy moly.
Yeah. He's a freak.
He's a freak. There's definitely, man, I'm trying to think of I mean, Deshaun, Deshaun's, he's using his hands more. Not only is he a freak out of his stance in the first 5 steps, But he's actually using his hands this year.
Only thing he needs to
Really
work
nasty.
on, not to go on one.
Man, listen, I think his number's 87. I think he jumped off sides 87 times last year.
Well, that's why he changed it to 3.
That's why he changed it to 3.
I love it.
He's definitely, that's a kid you want. You know what I mean? I'll take some offsides because he can get a
I'll
sack and make
I'll
it
tell
up
you
next
from
play.
looking at that kid from his sophomore year to his,
Unbelievable.
I mean, the kid, I mean, you're like, really, you would have never thought that. You know, you wouldn't. I'll tell you, a kid, and you know, Ben, you know, your son been on offensive line, and I love the kid to death, man, and he helped me a lot his freshman year. His big country Austin. I tell you, that kid has turned into a freak. Right. And I don't know if he'll go D1, but if somebody takes a chance on that kid, they're going to get a good kid, though. You know, they really are. And I tell you, Butler, I watched a little film. Chip is good. Yeah.
You know, being an old player, a lot of my old teammates are now coaches at places, and so when they do start looking at Choctaw, you always get them phone calls. Hey, you know, tell me about so and so. Tell me about. And Alden has been. I have 3 phone calls that people have just called. Hey, what kind of kid is he?
Great
and
kid.
I tell them all the time, like I promise you, you won't find a better one.
You won't. Kid is not gonna. He's gonna get his books. He's gonna do his stuff. So,
Alden's going this way. Alden's doing what he. I mean, Alden's doing what's best for the team. What he's told to do.
If he probably ain't playing football, he's probably somewhere fishing in a tank top with a cowboy hat on.
And when you talk to him, like if you speak to his mom and dad or his little brother, and then you hear him talk, like you really have to ask, like is that really your parents? they get you out of that hayfield somewhere.
Great kid. I love the kid,
absolutely.
man. Really. I'm glad he's got some. He's one of my favorites, though. He really is, though, man.
Cool thing about Alton, real quick. I played with him. I think he was like a sophomore my senior year, and we had something called jump school at like 5:36 in the morning. And I showed up every once in a while. Probably didn't go as often as I should, but I go in there one time and Alton's already doing stuff, and then like we're not even started. I was going to Alton. I was like, dude, what time did you get here? He's like, oh, I've been here since 5:30. I mean, he's just a guy. He wants to work. You know, he's a great student. He's a great athlete. I mean, that's one guy that I'm going to back for the rest of my life. You know, just
you see that now. You're seeing the benefits of that now. You know, I think he lost like 45, 50 pounds this offseason just to get his feet faster, to get his body, you know, not only moving better, but looking.
Like I said, Aaron, Alton's a good kid, but man, like I said, Aaron, it's great to have you on the show, man. It's good to kind of clear some things up, you know. Like I said, folks, we're not fighting. We're always going to have that bond of blood. We're always going to be, part of each other. But Aaron, I will say one thing, though. You did have me mad a couple weeks ago, and I'll let you go. Why was my baby brother's, my nephew getting spot fired on because where he lived? But, it's so funny.
These rules.
Yeah.
Following these rules. He was good. It's just the way the INFC works, and that's why a lot of people will stay out of the INFC is just because a lot of people call it the rule book league.
He was so down. He's like, am I gonna get to play football this year, Dad? And I know you did everything to help Jonah, and then Jonah got it taken care of, man. But I just tell you, man, it's so funny because the recruiting starts at, they're checking rules at 10 years old in high school. It's just crazy. But like I said, at the end of the day, man, and I say it all the time on the show, man, just do the right thing and no one's going to get in trouble. Because one thing you don't want to happen is that, hey, you make it to the state championship and then somebody finds something out and guess what? Those kids get it pulled away. And I'm telling you, there's going to be some pissed off parents. I don't care who it is. Because I'm telling you, I was that parent when the boys' senior year. I didn't want nothing. I even called Aaron. I said, hey, we doing everything right? Yes, Tom, we're good to go. Because the thing is, I mean, it's like if his son, he wasn't a touchdown club president, and his son was just on the team, you don't want that to happen to your baby boy, baby girl, or any sport. So parents, if you are out there and you are talking to coaches, just do the right thing. That's all I ask. Just do the right thing, and he'll tell you the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, always. It just makes it easier. I mean, because there are other people out there that are after you.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or ugly, for whatever reason, nobody knows, but there are people out there that are. So do the right thing. Absolutely.
Well, folks, we enjoy you coming and watching another great episode of Keeping It What?
Keeping It 100, Oklahoma High School Sports. And see you next.
Wait a second.
If
you ever need anything, you ever get broke down, call who?
Connell's Record Service.
Hey, he's here to take care of you. You've been in business for how long?
32 years.
32 years. Great folks. Well, folks, thank you. Anything, Biggie?
No, that's it. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.